You're right there, mate. How you doing? It's Speed here. I've already done my favourite shines. Now for my least favourite. No 100 coin shines, however, as they're just easy targets. Anyway, let's go. Oh, what a way to kick off the list with the final area in the game. Corona Mountain is split into several sections, and it's the second section why it's on here. The first section has platforms with insta-kill spikes and fire, but that area is not too bad. But after that is the section that causes me issues. This bow is incredibly sensitive because if it so much as grazes anything, it'll sink into the lava and you may not be able to save yourself if you're not close enough to the island. After that there's a rocket nozzle which you have to use to reach the final boss. That part's not too bad. And the final boss itself is pretty easy and not really anything that impressive. But it's the bow section that got this level on the list. If I had to pick a favourite area in the game, Pina Park would definitely be a contender, as there's only one shine in the area I don't like, the balloon one. The goal is pretty simple. Use the rockets to burst 20 barrels of junior balloons in 3 laps, and that wouldn't be too bad if it weren't for one little issue. There's no aiming marker, so it's often guesswork trying to work out the angles to fire at, which isn't easy to do when you're on a roller coaster that's constantly moving. Oh, and you get murdered if you don't burst them all in 3 laps. Good luck, mate. Serena Beach is the weakest area in the game, as I didn't really care for any of the shines, and the Phantom Manta Ray certainly did not leave a good first impression. You have to spray the twine until it splits into smaller clones, and these things can go all over the map, leaving their electric goop all over the place if you're not careful. But the worst part is the second phase, when they start chasing after you. There is a technique you can use with Flood to deal with them a lot easier, but that drains your water Sonic Chronic, and whilst you're refilling, you're wide open and these things can easily combo damage you. It's not a fun boss to fight. And the Phantom Manta Ray isn't my least favourite boss in the game. No, that dishonour goes to the Eely Mouth. The underwater physics in this game are since you can't easily turn on a dime, so aiming the hover nozzle into this thing's teeth is irritating as hell. Yeah, she beat this boss by being a bleeding dentist, and I don't think Mario has the best history in these kinds of fields. Not only that, but as you're cleaning the teeth, purple smoke covers where you're aiming, he can spin his mouth whenever he wants to, and when he closes his mouth, any teeth you haven't cleaned can fully heal. Not to mention, since this is an underwater fight, you have to constantly go to the side of the arena because coins equals air apparently, and I used to think Phantom Manta was worse. Mysterious Hotel Delfino. It's a mystery how you're meant to figure out this level without the internet. Yoshi's incredibly picky wanting the pineapple, and you have to take a very specific route to get there. You have to wall jump here, because that's completely obvious, spray this ghost painting, spray these bookshelves, use these pink boozer platforms, spray another bookshelf, finally ground pound here to reach the pineapple, then feed Yoshi, go all the way to the open room at the top, find your way through this maze on the roof, and finally ground pound the broken ceiling above the pool. All because this guy wouldn't let us in without appropriate swimwear. Even during recording this shine confused the hell out of me. Behind Serena Beach, I think Gelato Beach was the weakest area in the game, and whilst it's not the worst shine in the area, the sandbed is a nightmare to deal with on your first playthrough. It's incredibly freaking slippy to traverse on, especially when going for the red coin on the tail. But the worst part is when the bird tilts on its side. Its side is so bleeding skinny, and if you mess up, your only hope is landing on one of the clouds, and it's a 2-minute wait until the bird flies back round. And during my first playthrough of this on 3D All-Stars, this happened several times in a row.
Really hating this sandbird now.
This was not a fun one to collect. The piranhas in this game are absolute freaking pillars, but where they're at their worst was definitely Secret of the Village Underside. Every other secret area in the game was a test of your platforming skills, which for the most part was really good. That's not the case here. You have to chat with the chucksters to get from place to place, and the angle at which you chat with the chucksters is the angle at which you're thrown at, and this is very sensitive. And whilst you're in the air, you don't have much control. Because of these two factors, it's very likely on your first playthrough, you're gonna find yourself constantly being chucked into the pit. It can feel like luck getting this shine first time round. I need to bring up something I said in my best shines video. The red coin shines in this game tend to be very feast or famine, and both of the best and the worst had usual trends. Usually the worst ones were in some level where the gimmick is absolute shit, Oh yeah, you knew this shine was going to be high on the list. Lily Pad Ride is often considered the worst shine in the game, and I can absolutely see why. Because even just getting to the shine is a pain, since you need to ride on several boats with Yoshi, and not only do those boats take donkey's years to get anywhere, you mess up jumping to any of the boats, you're gonna have to do all of that again, and then you actually start the level.
Lovely.
You have to use FLUDD to aim the lily pad into the red coins. Most of the red coins aren't too bad to get, but the 7th one requires you to jump for it, and if you miss on landing, just like my monetization, you're not coming back. However, this shine does give you some mercy. If you can land on the side of the level and go all the way back, the lily pad does respawn. Otherwise, this shine would have easily cracked the top spot on this list. Out of all the shines during this recording, this is the one that gave me the most shit. You need to roll the biggest watermelon towards the hut at the side, which happens to be on this hill. So just roll it down to the hut. Simple, eh? It's anything but that. I'm guessing it must be mating season at July Beach, because there are cataquacks absolutely everywhere. And they can't be killed, only stunned, and even then they don't stay stunned for very long. And that melon is incredibly fragile. If it so much as grazes a cataquack, it pops. Rolls into a tree, it pops. Hit it incorrectly, it pops. And even when you get past all of that, that plank is not very wide, and if that watermelon falls into the water at this point, it's bleeding infuriating having to go through all those cataquacks again. The shines in Delfino Plaza are infamous, and for good reason. They're bloody and whilst I can see why some people consider the lily pad ride the worst in the game, getting to the level is worse than the actual level itself. So yes, my number one pick is obviously the Pachinko machine, because the physics are an absolute bloody mess. It feels like there's always something pushing you towards the center, making the 2 red coins on the far left a massive gamble to get in. The only consistent way I can get to the coin in the top left is to wall jump perpendicular and hope you can land in the pocket. The coins at the bottom you'll have to estimate where you need to land. And the cherry on top of this, the shine spawns inside the center, so when, not if, you miss a pocket, well, this has been Inkling. I'll see you later, mate.